Picture a town, West Pittston, Pennsylvania, a place where shadows stretch long in the afternoon sun, where secrets whisper on the wind. This is where the Smurl family lived. Jack, Janet, and their 4 daughters. They thought they had found a home, a haven. They were wrong. The late 1970s, the air grows cold, the leaves begin to turn. The Smurls' lives are about to change forever. Their ordinary home on an ordinary street would soon become a nightmare that would haunt them for years to come. This is the story of the haunting of the Smurl family. Their home was unassuming, a simple 2-story structure like many others on the block. But something about it felt off. The windows seemed to watch you, their glass eyes reflecting a darkness that ran deeper than any shadow. The front door, once a welcoming portal, now seemed to creak with a silent warning. Stay away. Danger lurks within. Inside, shadows danced in the corners, even in broad daylight. This was a battleground. It started subtly, a whisper of something wrong, a chill down the spine when there was no draft.
There's a strange smell in the house, foul, like rotten meat.
She scrubbed, aired the house, but the smell lingered. Then came the noises. At first, just creaks and groans, the sounds an old house makes. But then, something more. Footsteps in the hallway when no one was there. Knocks on the walls, rhythmic, insistent. The children started to complain of nightmares. The whispers started soon after. Soft at first, like the wind rustling through dry leaves, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. They would spiral around the Smurl family, leaving them with a sense of unease. As the days turned into weeks, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to mock the family's growing fear. One night, the whispers morphed into something more sinister. Distinct voices, cold and menacing, filled the air, calling the family members by name. Fear, like a creeping vine, began to choke the Smurl family. It seeped into their laughter, their conversations, their every thought. The once warm and inviting home had transformed into a prison of dread.
I tried to keep things normal, tried to explain it all away.
I prayed for deliverance, for a return to the peaceful life we once knew.
Janet found herself battling a losing battle against the overwhelming fear. The darkness held its breath. A palpable heaviness descended upon the house. The Smurl family, huddled together in the living room, could feel their hearts pounding in unison.
Then it hit. An unseen force, cold and malevolent, slammed into the girls, throwing them against the walls like rag dolls.
Their screams pierced the night, each cry a desperate plea for mercy.
We fought to reach them, but it was like our hands just passed through empty air.
The air crackled with an unseen energy, a malevolent presence that seemed to feed off the family's terror. Even Simon, the family dog, a normally boisterous German shepherd, cowered in fear. He too had become a target of the unseen entity. One moment Simon was there, whimpering at Janet's feet.
And then he was gone.
The family searched frantically, their calls for Simon echoing through the empty house. Days later, Simon reappeared just as suddenly as he had vanished.
But Simon wasn't just scared. He was different.
From then on, Simon would often vanish and reappear, each time returning more withdrawn. Then the scratches started. Deep, angry welts appeared on the girls' arms and legs overnight. Janet and Jack found themselves at their wits' end, their exhaustion fueled by fear. They tried everything they could think of, locking the windows and doors, sleeping with the lights on, but nothing worked. The girls retreated further into themselves, their silence a heartbreaking symphony of fear and despair. The Smurls were trapped in a nightmare. Whispers of doubt began to circulate amongst their neighbors, friends, even family. How could a normal family in a normal house be subjected to such horrors? Was it all just a fabrication, a cry for attention? The events that plagued the Smurl family were beyond the realm of normal comprehension. Even those who wanted to believe found themselves questioning the validity of the Smurls' claims. But for Jack and Janet, there was no doubt. They had seen the terror in their children's eyes, felt the icy grip of the unseen force. Their desperate pleas for help fell on deaf ears. Desperate. The Smurl family were grasping at straws. Priests came, armed with prayers and holy water. They blessed the house, but the darkness remained. Paranormal investigators arrived with their gadgets and their theories. Electromagnetic fields spiked, temperatures plummeted. The Smurls, their faces etched with exhaustion and fear, clung to every word, every flicker on a screen. But the answers, like the shadows themselves, remained elusive. Word of the Smurls' plight reached the ears of Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators. Veterans of countless hauntings, they brought with them an air of quiet authority.
Lorraine, her demeanor gentle yet unwavering, claimed to sense a demonic presence.
Ed, a gruff man with a crucifix hanging heavy around his neck, spoke of battles fought and won against the forces of darkness.
They performed their investigations, their methods a blend of religious ritual and seasoned observation.
The Warrens, their faces grim, confirmed the Smurls' worst fears. This was no ordinary haunting. This was a demonic infestation, a battle for the family's very souls. Finally, someone was willing to fight alongside them. But even as the Warrens offered a glimmer of hope, skepticism lingered. Psychologists, brought in to assess the family's mental state, offered alternative explanations: stress, sleep paralysis, even shared delusion.
The Smurls' claims, they argued, were the product of overactive imaginations.
The media, hungry for a story, seized upon the conflicting narratives. The Smurls found themselves fighting a battle on two fronts, against the unseen force and against the skepticism. Some skeptics went further, suggesting a more sinister explanation for the events. What if, they whispered, the Smurls weren't victims at all? What if they were willing participants in a dark charade? They pointed to the Smurls' financial struggles, to the potential for profit from book deals and movie rights. The accusations, though hurtful, were not entirely unfounded. The Smurls, however, vehemently denied any such claims. They just wanted their lives back, their home free from the terrifying grip of the unseen force. The whispers of the Smurl haunting soon escaped the confines of their small Pennsylvania town. Carried on the wind of rumor and speculation, their story reached the ears of a public hungry for tales of the unknown.
Newspapers, their pages thirsty for a story that would grip their readers, sent reporters to the small town of West Pittston.
Headlines screamed from the newsstands, each one more dramatic, more terrifying than the last. Family terrorized by demonic force, one proclaimed. With each printed word, the Smurl haunting took on a life of its own, morphing from a family's private nightmare into a public spectacle. The printed word was soon followed by the flickering images of television screens. News crews descended upon the Smurl home, their cameras capturing the family's exhausted faces, their haunted eyes reflecting the terror they had endured. Talk show hosts, their smiles a touch too wide, their questions a touch too probing, invited the Smurls to share their story with a national audience. The family, their voices trembling with a mixture of fear and disbelief, recounted their experiences, their words hanging heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the bright lights and forced laughter of the studio audience. The Smurl haunting, once confined to the shadows of their home, was now beamed into living rooms across the country, its chilling details debated and dissected by experts and armchair skeptics alike. The line between reality and entertainment blurred, the family's nightmare transformed into a spectacle for public consumption, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that lurk just beyond the edges of perception. As the media frenzy reached fever pitch, the public became judge and jury in the case of the Smurl haunting. Opinions were sharply divided, fueled by fascination, skepticism, and fear of the unknown. Some offered unwavering support to the Smurl family. Others dismissed the claims as a hoax or overactive imaginations. The Smurl family, caught in the crossfire, defended their sanity as fiercely as they fought the unseen force. The media frenzy, like all storms, eventually subsided, leaving in its wake a trail of unanswered questions and a family forever marked by their experiences. The Smurl haunting, however, refused to fade quietly into obscurity. Their story, fueled by the flames of public fascination and skepticism, became a modern-day parable, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and debated in online forums. Its legacy a testament to the enduring power of fear, belief, and the mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our world. The house on Chase Street, once a beacon of terror, stood empty, its windows dark, its secrets sealed within its aging walls. The Smurl family, forever linked to the haunting that consumed their lives, attempted to rebuild their lives, their scars a constant reminder of the unseen forces that had tested their faith, their sanity, and the very bonds of their family. The Smurl haunting, like many tales of the paranormal, attracted its share of skeptics. They pointed to the lack of concrete, irrefutable evidence. The shadows on film could be tricks of the light, the noises, the settling of an old house. The physical attacks, they argued, were more difficult to explain away. But were they truly the work of an unseen entity? Or could there be a more mundane, albeit disturbing, explanation? Some whispered of mental illness, of shared delusions born of stress and isolation. The Smurl story, they claimed, was a cautionary tale, not of demonic forces, but of the human mind's ability to conjure its own demons. The power of suggestion, they insisted, could be as potent as any supernatural entity. And what of the Warrens, the demonologists who had so readily validated the Smurl's claims? Their methods, some argued, were more theater than science, their conclusions designed to reinforce their own paranormal worldview. Despite the skepticism, the Smurl haunting refused to be easily dismissed. It remained a topic of debate, a case study in the struggle between belief and doubt. The Smurl family never wavered in their account of the events. They maintained their story was not a hoax, but a desperate plea for understanding. Their story was chronicled in books and documentaries, dissected and debated in paranormal circles and late-night talk shows. The Smurl haunting became a cultural touchstone, a reminder that some mysteries defy explanation. Some horrors linger long after the last shadow has faded. Years later, the Smurl story continues to resonate. It serves as a reminder that the line between belief and skepticism is razor thin, and that some stories, like echoes in the silence, refuse to be silenced. The Smurl family's ordeal, regardless of where one stands on the spectrum of belief, stands as a stark reminder of the power of fear. The unseen, the unknown, holds a primal terror for humankind. Whether the events on Chase Street were the work of a demonic entity, a manifestation of psychological stress, or a cunningly crafted hoax, the impact on the Smurl family was undeniable. Years after the last investigator left, after the media circus moved on to the next sensational story, the Smurls carried the weight of their experience. The fear, the doubt, the skepticism they faced left invisible scars. Their lives, once ordinary, were irrevocably altered by the haunting. The Smurl haunting serves as a chilling reminder that some wounds run deeper than any physical injury. The scars of the unknown, of fear that chills the very marrow, can linger long after the shadows have receded. The haunting on Chase Street continues to cast a long shadow, not just on the lives of the Smurl family, but on our collective fascination with the paranormal. It serves as a stark reminder that some mysteries defy easy explanation. Some questions linger long after the last page is turned, the final credits roll. The debate over the legitimacy of the Smurl haunting mirrors a larger conversation about the nature of belief, the limits of human perception. Do we choose to believe in the unseen, the unexplainable, or do we cling to the comfort of logic, of reason? Perhaps the true terror of the Smurl haunting, and indeed of all ghost stories, lies not in the confirmation of the supernatural, but in the unsettling possibility that some doors are best left unopened, some shadows best left undisturbed. For in the darkness, the line between reality and nightmare can become terrifyingly blurred.